Come here, Scooby. Scooby. Scooby, 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 Scooby. Scooby, 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 Scooby. Get him. Get him. What do you want? What do you want? Doggos. Welcome back to Ranch Heads. Look at him. Huh? You gonna drop a deuce? Huh? What you gonna do? We don't need to watch that. So, I am out at the secondary location where I've got the rest of the vehicles and whatnot. And I'm gonna kind of show you what I got. So these are not gonna be reviews or anything. This is just kind of gonna be a finish up of my previous video where I wasn't able to show you the rest of the stuff that I had. First off, I will show you El Donor car. There it be. So it's in pieces at the moment, and keen eye viewers may notice something about this that makes it kind of unique, other than the fact of it's missing its front end and, you know, the front clips here, and rest of it's in the trunk. But you may have noticed a certain something about this car. It just keeps showing up in big, bold words. This car is in fact a show. This is what's left of a 1994 Ford Taurus SHO. I picked this up with a friend of mine for, well, as I said, a donor car, because it's pretty rusted out when I picked it up. Drove it for a little while and then decided I didn't want to risk blowing a few more brake lines like I did. So we just kind of, we started tearing it apart. But let me just kind of show you what we got here. We got that really high-end suspension that, I mean, it's that super soft. Cut the motor mounts out for another project. And, I mean, back seat's loaded with junk, because why not? Turn my flash off. And this is what we're working with on the inside. So she had 133,311 miles when she was sadly returned to the grave, where she probably belongs. And yep, this is a 94 owner's manual. Pretty cool. But yeah, it's got stereo and everything in it. I am gonna kind of salvage this for parts and pieces and whatnot so that we can use it for other things. This was an automatic car, which means it came with the 3.2 liter SHO V6. And these from the factory were supposedly putting out, are you not latching anymore? There we go. Supposedly putting out 220 horse and about 215 foot-pounds of torque, which honestly is pretty good for their mid-90s, early 90s kind of era. Because, I mean, you got to remember, emissions were pretty crazy at that point. So, I mean, they were sleepers back in their day. Again, like I said, that one's the automatic that had the 4 or 5 speed automatic with it, and that thing pulled pretty good. The best run that I got with it was a 0 to 60 in 9.9, but I mean, I had 4 people in the car, and I probably should have done a little bit of work to it, but I was pulling it anyway for my baby of a project car, which you'll see here shortly. But yeah, I mean, not bad for an early 90s car. So let's get into the next vehicle, which has been sitting for far too long and I need to do something with, but it's all here. This here is My 1953 or 4, I don't remember. Tell me in the comments if you know, because I've looked it up a few times and I can never figure it out. Ford Custom Line. And this is, in fact, the Custom Line trim. This is not the business coupe or anything like that. This is the legitimate Custom Line. And I've got my grass, my grass right there, you know, patina. But as for like rust on the car, it's not terrible. The worst spot of rust that I have is right here behind the doors. And it does in fact go in, but it's a pretty easy repair from what I've seen. But yeah, I mean, as for this particular car, it did not come with a motor or a transmission when I purchased it. But I mean, it's pretty clean for what it is. I mean, this is all solid. That engine's out of the other project car. Don't know what to do with it yet. But like badges and stuff like that, I got everything for it. On the inside of this Butte, I've got all the trim and stuff. Started cutting the floor pan out and then ended up stopping because problems arose, and I haven't gotten back to it yet. Because the floors look like that. It used to have door panels in it, but we managed to take those off and whatnot. But like everything in here works. Windows roll down and up, surprisingly smooth. Steering wheel works, and horn doesn't work, of course. He's missing a battery, maybe a little more than that, but you know. But yeah, I mean, as for the project potential of this car, it is absolutely huge. And I would love to mess around with this and do more, but sadly, I don't have the money or the time at the moment to do anything with it. But oh, it's such a beautiful car, and I can't wait to do something with this. It was actually an anniversary present to my wife, who is still waiting for me to do something with it. But I mean, it's not bad. That's about all I can tell you. I do have some rust holes in the back here. Again, those are easily fixable. I mean, I just got to loop them around. I don't know what rear end is in this thing. I haven't got it up on a lift or nothing like that. It's been pretty well just sitting here looking pretty. But someday I will do, just not today. Oh, well, let's start making our way over to the next vehicle, because everybody loves more vehicles. So this is my baby of a project, and I really need to keep working on it, but again, not enough time and not enough money, because these things are expensive. So this, and I'm going to get a good shot of this for you. This is my 1990 Ford Probe GT. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's not the GT. It is in fact the LX. So, a little bit of information about this car. This car is, this is the V6 version. These came with 3 different models. You had your base model, which came with a 2.2 naturally aspirated inline 4. And then it was also the GT model, which is what a lot of people have, which is the turboed version of that 2.2. Those cars were pretty quick back in the day. And then there was this one, which is the LX. I'll get it right one of these times. The LX. And the LX model had a 3.0 V6 Vulcan, which is the same one you'll find in like Rangers and some of your older like vans and things like that. It's their basic iron block V6, and they were pushing about 145 to 160 horsepower out of them at the time. So not terrible. I don't remember what the torque was on one of these though, so just bear with me on that one. Let's get a little closer look on this thing. So as you can see, I need to get the paint cleaned up because this window was rolled down all summer. so I had to cover it with like stuff, and it just, yeah, I need to buff the paint, because I mean it's not great paint to begin with, but I want to make it look a little nicer. Thinking about maybe painting it, not sure. Got the OG wheels for it, them ugly 3-spokers, or technically 6 spokes if you really want to call them that. I mean, everything's here for it. This one I picked up about a year or so ago, and I grabbed it for about $600, because where it was sitting, it had been sitting for like 4 or 5, maybe 6 years. And they were ready to get rid of it, and I went back and forth, and I used to have one of these when I went through college, and then I decided that, I'll get rid of this because I'm gonna go do some stuff with my life, and well, that didn't really pan out the way I wanted it to. So I picked this up here about, like I said, a year ago, because I wanted one of these back, because this is a Ford vehicle with flip-up headlights. Let me show you a bit of the interior, because this thing has some bells and whistles. First, right off the bat, it has a powered seat. Now, remember, this is 1990. This is the very first year of the 90s. I mean, we're talking right when things are starting to get crazy. And it is a manual. 5-speed manual. I mean, it's a trash box in here at the moment. ECUs, all that junk, lots of electrical. And then my favorite part of this car, digital dash. This thing is like driving Knight Rider. It's so cool. And when I saw that, I couldn't pass it up, because I don't know, it's cool. I like it. It's cool. So yeah, it is what it is. Other cool features, I do have the information panel, the electronic information panel. So this will tell me like my miles per gallon, my average speed, things like that, which is pretty cool. Normally they would have what is that called? Analog one up here where you could like switch dials and things like that. But the lady that purchased this, I mean, she got all the bells and whistles with this thing. I mean, I had cruise control on this, albeit it didn't work. I got all my levers and switches and stuff like that. I mean, this thing is high tech for what it is. And then I've also got power locks, power windows, window locks. I mean, the whole shebang. This car is nice. And I mean, that's about it to it. So that's the basic portions of it. But it's a project car. The reason why it's a project car, is you guys are probably guessing, is because it may have a bit of a heart transplant. A scary heart transplant. So this is that 3.2 show engine, which is not fully mounted in. I still gotta work some stuff out with it, but she just about is in. I got a few motor mounts and stuff I gotta work with, but I mean, she's ready to rock and roll. She'll run on the stand, and just ready to go. I just got to splice some wires and stuff in there, but she is gonna be mean. The engine does have to drop a little bit, so hopefully that this here is gonna drop down a little bit, and then where it sits in the front, it should figure itself out. So yeah, that is my project car. That is my baby. That is what I am going to be working on whenever I've got the chance to work on stuff. That battery's been out for like 3 weeks now. I'm gonna put it away because it's getting a little corroded. Sit right there, rot to the floor. So, I love this car. I love this car. Absolutely love this car. It was probably one of the better purchases I've made when it comes to fun cars and project ones. But yeah, those are the vehicles I have. This one here is a 51 Pontiac Chieftain, but it is not mine yet. I'm currently talking with the owners about it, and I may be able to work out a deal with them to pick that one up and do a little bit of work on it. So we shall see. Other than that, I think that's kind of going to wrap up the rest of this one. I mean, you saw the rest of the cars in the fleet, and that's kind of what I was achieving, or trying to achieve anyways. Suck at these. Also, I got my aspect ratio right this time. I'm not filming weird. Yeah, that's all she wrote. So thank you if you watched all the way to the end. I'm sorry if I scared you off and you're like, go away, I don't want anything to do with this man. I mean, makes sense. Uh-oh, getting barked at. So I will go with the little sight of Scoobert. All right, say bye, Scoobert. Bye, Scoobert.